Hello guys, Webby again. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We do new car reviews here in Melbourne, Australia. Today we're looking at the 2021 Hyundai Tucson Highlander, but with a 2-litre diesel engine. I previously reviewed this car with a 2-litre petrol engine, and at the time I said I'd really look forward to driving the 2-litre diesel because in my personal opinion it's the best engine for this car. So in this video we're actually going to find out if that's true and find out if this is the best engine for the new Tucson. So this 2-litre turbo diesel engine that's now available in the Tucson develops 137 kilowatt and 416 newton meters of torque. It's got an 8-speed torque converter gearbox, and the pair combined work really well. There's a claimed average figure of 6.3 litres per 100 kilometres of fuel usage, which is really good for a car this size. In the week that I've been driving it, I've actually averaged 7.9. And although that's obviously a lot more than what they claim as standard, a lot of my driving has actually been round town, just to and from work to the shops and that type of thing. There's been a little bit of freeway involved in that, but not very much. So to get 7.9 from mostly round town, I actually think that's pretty credible. The fuel tank is 54 litres, so based on Hyundai's claims of 6.3 litres per 100, you're actually looking at getting around 900 k's to a tank of fuel, which for a car this type is actually pretty good. I'm going to show you a little bit around the car just to sort of give you a refresher exactly what you get in terms of specification on the Highlander, but then we'll go for a little drive and then I can show you exactly what this new diesel engine is like, because I've been really impressed with it so far this week. So being that this is the Highlander model, you get everything you'd expect on a top of the range model. So we start off with things like bi-LED headlights here. We can just see here at the front of the car, the LED daytime running lights are in this sort of vertical section here. And at night time they look really fantastic. They're a very cool design. So coming around the side of the car, we've got the 19-inch alloy wheels. This model hasn't got the N-line package, which is one of the only options you can get on this car. So it's got the black plastic cladding around the wheel arches. If you get the N-line package, then that comes body coloured. So coming further around, obviously we've got things like keyless entry, push button start. We've got privacy glass there as well. At the back we've also got LED tail lights and then the light bar across the back as well. So it's exactly the same on the outside as the petrol powered version I drove early this year. Now the colour of this car is called Silky Bronze and it's available with 2 interior colour options. So let me show you the one I've got here this week. So keyless entry obviously, and then you open up the door and it's got brown seats. Which when I first jumped in it last week when I picked the car up, I was a bit, oh, brown seats. Not too sure about that. But actually, it's not too bad. It is probably a bit of an acquired taste, to be honest, because obviously most people would go for black because it's a safe option. But they are actually really nice seats. They're sort of, they're heated and cooled, which is nice. But you've then got also this piping around here around the edge. You've got this nice metal section up here just to sort of break up a bit of the colour. But actually, yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Not sure if I'd actually choose it if I was buying one of these. I'd probably be like everybody else, go safe and get the black interior. But either way, yeah, I think it's kind of a bit of a brave shout from Hyundai, but nicer nonetheless. We've got the full-length panoramic sunroof, as we saw on the Highlander previously earlier in the year. Dashboard layout is exactly the same, so I'll give you a quick run through. So I'll jump in and I'll show you what the interior looks like. So it's exactly the same as the petrol powered Highlander that I drove earlier this year. Can you hear the engine running? It's actually really quiet. So let's shut the door. So there you go, the digital display there in front of the driver. You've then got the huge great screen there in front of the center console, which, yeah, you can see all the fingerprints on here, which is just a downside of touchscreens these days, unfortunately. And it's got the piano black literally covering the whole fascia, which again you can see it picks up all the dust and fingerprints and hairs and everything else that you get in your car these days. It looks nice, but it's a bit of a nightmare to keep clean. But Hyundai's not alone in that, so that's not too much of a problem. Down here just below the centre console, so we've got the heated and air conditioned seats, which on a hot day the air conditioned seats are absolutely superb. Heated steering wheel, you've got your downhill descent control, your parking sensors, your cameras, then obviously heated and cooled seats for the passenger side. The gear stick is a little bit of a novelty, so you've got reverse, neutral and drive and park. They're literally just push buttons. You don't actually, there's nothing to twist or pull or anything like that. You just push each button depending on which gear you want. electric handbrake with auto hold function, again pretty standard stuff, and then a couple of cup holders. Coming into the back of this Tucson Highlander, obviously the brown leather continues into the back. It does actually look, it looks lighter on camera than it is in real person. Trust me, it's a lot darker than what you're probably seeing on the camera. So don't be too put off by that. But as you can see, there's plenty of space in here. You've got a couple of nets on the back of the sort of front seats. If we step in, we can see we've got the air vents there in the middle, which is nice because obviously it means the rear passengers can get the air conditioning coming through. Down the bottom there, we've got a couple of USB charging points. You can plug your phone or your iPad in or whatever you've got. Now this is a cool function. The back passengers can actually operate the front passenger seat, so they can just sort of move it backwards and forwards slightly, just in case they want to, you know, extend their leg space, or they can actually tilt the back of the seat as well. Probably a good idea unless you get kids that want to annoy mum or dad and fiddle about with the seat. So that could actually cause a few arguments, I reckon. So this is the view you get as a rear passenger looking forward through the car. As you can see, you've got a nice view out the front. You can see what's going on with mum, dad, whoever's driving the car at the time. The side windows are a decent size as well, so you feel nice and airy. And then obviously having the sunroof lets lots of light into the cabin and makes you feel very, very spacious. The other nice feature that the rear passengers get is heated seats on the outer two seats. So you've got a couple of heat settings there. So it means that passengers in the back don't miss out on a cold winter's morning. So the electric tailgate opens up. We've got a decent amount of space in here. Plenty of space to fit school bags, luggage, trips to the airport, that type of thing. You don't really need any more space than that, but if you do, you can obviously fold the seats down, extend it all the way out to the back where the driver and the front passenger seats are, and you've got absolutely acres of space in there. Now, because this is the diesel engine car, there's actually one feature that you get on this car that you don't get on any other version of the Tucson, and that's the remote parking facility. So from your ignition key, you can actually lock the car, start the engine, and then there's a couple of buttons where you can move the car backwards and forwards. So if you're in a tight parking spot when you come back out of the supermarket because people have parked too close, you can just get your key out and move your car out of the parking space and off you go again. So yeah, looking at the buttons on the keys, once we've pressed the lock button, we've got a button at the bottom to actually start the engine. And then the next two above that are the buttons will actually move the car backwards and forwards depending on which way you're coming out of your parking space. So let me give you a quick demo. So we lock the car, we press and hold the bottom button, which will actually start the engine for us. And then once we've done that, like I say, we can press either button just to move the car backwards or forwards. So I'm going to move the car forwards. It does actually go quite slowly, so it doesn't go off at breakneck speeds or anything. So there you go, it's nice and controlled. And if you want to stop the car, you literally just take your finger off the button and it stops immediately. You can then do exact opposite. You put your finger on the reverse button and then the car will go backwards until you take your finger off the button again. And then after that, we can press and hold the key button to turn the engine off again. Job done. How easy was that? Now, it might be one of those things you think, yeah, I'm never going to use that, or you're just going to show your mates just because your car can do it. But I reckon you might get the odd situation where you're in a tight parking spot because someone's blocked you in the supermarket. That might actually come in handy. So another reason to buy the diesel version over one of the petrol versions. So let's go and take this Tucson diesel for a drive. Find out what it's like. Is it noisy? Is it quiet? What's the fuel consumption like? What's the handling like compared to the petrol version? Because obviously you're spending a little bit more money to go to the diesel model. So we need to find out whether it's actually worth that extra spend. So once you actually get going, this Tucson diesel is actually a really nice car to drive. It feels very solid and planted on the road. The engine and the gearbox work really well together. Having 8 speeds for the gearbox obviously helps with torque delivery for the engine, which is obviously what diesel engines are all about. The diesel engine isn't very noisy either, it's actually quite quiet. So it makes for a nice relaxing journey. Although the diesel engine version is slightly heavier than any of the petrol versions of the Tucson, it doesn't seem to affect the handling too much, which is good. So it still feels sort of planted around the corners, it's nice and solid. It's very sort of confidence inspiring to drive. The steering's well weighted. The driving position is really good. You've got great visibility sort of going forward, looking out the side windows. So there's lots to like about this Tucson. And it's understandable to see why. It was the car sales medium-sized SUV of the year this year. This is probably one of the most important cars for Hyundai in Australia. So it's good to see they've done a fantastic job of it. So if you've seen my last video of the Tucson Highlander, where I drove the 2-litre petrol engine, in that video I said I was really looking forward to the diesel model, because that would have been my pick out of the 3 engines that are available: the 2-litre petrol, the 1.6 turbo, and then this 2-litre turbo diesel. So now, having driven it, I'll stand by what I said. It would still be my pick of the engine choices. With any diesel car, the Tucson is not that sort of quick off the line, but once it actually gets going and in traffic, the pickup when you put your foot down is actually quite impressive. The torque starts at around sort of 2,000 revs, which is higher than some diesel engines, but doesn't seem to sort of detract from the driving experience too much, which is good. And one of the other reasons you might go for the diesel engine over one of the petrol engines is for towing ability. The petrol engines are around 1,600 kilos, whereas this diesel engine is 1,900 kilos. And although it's not that much more, for some people it might just be enough to make them legal when they're towing. So yeah, if you want a little bit of extra towing ability, again, the diesel engine would be the one to go for. So the diesel engine also comes with Hyundai's H-Track 4-wheel drive system. So it's an on-demand system, so it's mostly front-wheel drive predominantly most of the time. And then obviously the rear wheels come into play as and when you need them, which is like a lot of four-wheel drive systems on SUVs these days. So that brings us to an end to this video for the Tucson Diesel Highlander. I'd love to know your thoughts on this car. I was really impressed with it, particularly the smoothness and quietness of the diesel engine, plus also the really good fuel economy that you get. I love some of the new features like the remote parking, but it's also nice that you get a choice of interior other than black, although it is a bit subjective because not everybody's going to like a brown interior. So if you've got any questions about this car or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below for me, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. So if you've enjoyed this video today, please give it a like. It obviously helps with the algorithms on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to find out every time a new car review video goes live. So that just leaves me to say thanks for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.